Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I'm back working on another one of the reels that Wayne from Florida sent in. This is a keepsake reel of his. It's a South Bend. It's the number 2500. It's a anti-backlash reel model A. It's made of stainless steel. It works, but it just kind of chugs along and very inefficiently. I'm sure that's old grease and the like. Kind of an interesting reel. I'm not sure if this is just plain shrink or what's gone on this side. I think these are rubber, if I'm correct. It may not be rubber, it might be a plastic, but I think it's actually a rubber. And we're going to see if we can help Wayne get this thing fishing again. So I like to start by taking off my exterior pieces and parts, and as I do that, I also like to thank our first responders and essential personnel and everybody involved in keeping us safe during the pandemic. Your efforts truly are appreciated. You are our hometown heroes, and I thank you for what it is that you do. All right, so I just wanted to check to make sure that I had a tool that could take that off. I do. It's a 5/16 nut driver. It works great on that. And generally with a sluggish reel, I like to give it a good coating of penetrating oil before I do anything. That does two things. It helps to loosen some of the grease and the like, clean it up a little bit, and also sometimes a restorative is as simple as just getting some fresh oil on there. And even though it's penetrating oil, it's not a real good lubricant, but it does help, and it doesn't hurt, right? So, all right, we're going to start again, I mentioned, by taking this off. I did put a towel under there because if any grease and the like kind of leaked out, I'd rather catch it on a towel than leave it on my bench. Once I do that, I can remove the handle. That gives us at least 4 side plate mounting screws. I use a micro screwdriver for that. And when I take these out, I want to lay these on my desk because I want to make sure that the screws are all the same size. If they aren't, I want to mark the orientation for that screw in terms of where it belongs, and it's not unusual to find that you have different size screws, which is why I've learned from experience to do that. I've also learned to take pictures along the way because it's tough sometimes to trust your memory to put these back together the right way. I just had a question from a person who sent me in a reel because they didn't remember how a piece went. All right, I'm unfamiliar with this reel. I think I probably could get a schematic for the reel if I liked from the Orca website. Orca is the Old Reel Collectors Association. And if you go online, you can find it. If you like old reels, you can subscribe to it. This is a parts tray. It's nothing more than a plastic pail, but I do put the pieces and the parts in there so that I don't lose them when it's time for reassembly. Okay, let's see if we can get this off. No, I didn't think so. There's 2 more screws on here that apparently are involved in helping me take this off. I'm just going to loosen them first. Sometimes these bridge screws tell you that you can and you can't. Sometimes it's holding something on the interior of the reel. In this case, it seems to have a direct effect on being able to remove the side plate, so we're going to do just that. So that's holding the bridge on, so the side plate should come off without those 2 screws. I'm going to put those back in for a moment. I'd like to see if I can how that bridge is assembled on the inside. So let's see if we can't just, there we go. Well, this is why the reel is turning as poorly as it is. No doubt about it there. We're just caked with years and years of old grease on that. See if we can get this spool out. We can, and you can see on the other side that it's just a matter of a lot of hard grease there as well. All right, we're going to take a moment. We're going to spray this down. Back to those first responders. That's our police, our fire, all uniformed personnel, our rescue teams, the folks that are involved in the day-to-day emergency stuff, EMTs and the like, as well as all of the folks that are involved in the medical and hospital trades, long-term care facilities, and the like. I usually don't need to tell you who they are. You know who they are, and if you know them, please thank them. All right, we're just digging this out. This is years and years of dried grease. We have a conversation every now on the forum. It says, should I use grease or should I use oil? And I'm more of a fan of oil. It doesn't last as long. It lubricates. Doesn't last as long. It's subject to evaporation. Grease stays around a little while longer. I guess I would say I would use grease if I knew that the reel was going to be maintained on a regular basis. But seeing this, what usually happens with something like this is that the owner of the reel is an avid fisherman, does everything right, and then at some point along the way, maybe life gets in the way, can't go fishing anymore, and what happens is they just put the reel into storage. When they put the reel into storage, well, it's usually in a closet or a garage or a hot spot or a cold spot, depending on where you are, I guess. And eventually the grease just cakes, dries, and just becomes the opposite of what it should be. It should be a nice lubricant, and instead it becomes a detriment to the whole thing because it just winds up grinding down to a paste and a gluey kind of a substance. All right, we're just going to try and get that last bit off the side plate here. I try to use a minimum of abrasion if I can. Just using a cotton swab here. I have a micro screwdriver I just took the screws out with to get the other stuff off. But overall, I think we did a pretty good job of getting the grease out of that bearing side. We also did a pretty good job here. Now, look how easy that line guide is turning now that it's not impeded by all of that stuff. All right, so we're just going to spray that down again one more time. I'm going to come in just a little bit. We'll come back in here and finish that part. Here is the assembly. I want to note this. I have an anti-reverse spring here. Kind of looks like a paper clip. I think it's either an anti-reverse spring or a clicker. I certainly want to clean that up. And now you see why that paper towel is there. You can get more mileage out of that if you like by turning it over. But this is where old grease definitely has a role in performance or lack thereof. Okay, what we're going to do now is those two screws on the face are this main gear, so we're going to go take that out. I think the rest of the assembly is going to stay there, but it may or it may not. We're going to find out, I guess. Does this pull off? Yeah, this whole assembly is going to come off. All right, let's take those two screws out. So if you like this kind of video about reel repair and how reels are made and how to keep them fishing, then I would ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please hit the notification button. That way you'll be sure to see all the episodes I post, and you'll make a determination as to whether that's one that you want to watch or not. All right, let's see what comes out with this. I'm thinking the whole thing is going to come out. It will. And this is a good place for a picture. Try gingerly to hold this thing. Take a picture of what you see there so that you know when you go to reinstall this that you're going to put it back together properly. Well, this is kind of like that laundry thing, right? Rinse and repeat, right? There's old grease and stuff dried on the side plate here, which is impacting the performance of the reel. So we use a spray. I'm going to use a 4-0 steel wool here. It's a little aggressive. It won't damage the plate, but it will help scrape up the old greases. Before I lose sight of those two screws, I'm going to put those into my parts tray so that they don't get knocked about as I continue on the cleaning. I'm just wiping down the dirt now and finishing off that cleaning with a paper towel. Okay, let's see what we have here. We have that little click assembly just rides over in that groove. Good for a mental note there. Again, we'll just get all that old hard grease off of that. This appears to be an anti-reverse. It's probably not working very well. And some of these are knuckle buster reels, so you wouldn't have an anti-reverse in it. This one doesn't say anti-reverse, it says anti-backlash. So this may have something to do with slowing down the main gear. Right. This we know how this goes. It's going to go in this little hole there. So I'm going to assume that little hole gets some grease. The adjuster's on the other side of that. It's going to go in here like this. And we're kind of bouncing in and out of there. Okay, let's get to the main gear. This whole thing should just pull off now. And again, we have a lot of old grease under there. So that's why you're going about the cleaning here. And that's all about what's going on with the lack of performance in this reel. This reel doesn't have an star adjuster. It's a direct drive reel, so you won't find drag washers or anything of the like in here. You can find anti-reverses and things like that. But it is a beautiful reel. That the little rubber there kind of says it's probably 1930s. Not sure. I'd have to do some research on it. I'm thinking that if you were on that Orca site, you would find out a little bit more about that. This is starting to become crazy there. Chris is probably saying I should go get another paper towel. He always accuses me of overusing a paper towel. He's probably right. Okay, so we're almost done with the last of this piece. I'm sure this thing is just going to spin like a top when we're done. You want to get a little bit of grease onto the gear shaft. That would be your next step. Check the teeth on the gear. I mean, there's not much you can do if it's broken, but you got to check it nonetheless. You want to get the outside gear greased, which is going to drive the level wind feature. And you want to get the inside gear greased, which is going to drive the spool. You want to get a little bit onto the shaft, and then we can reseat this. Spin it, make sure that it's spinning nicely, which it is. Go ahead and grab the other piece, which is the lockdown device. Let's install the gear. Go get the two pieces, or two screws that will hold that main gear in place. And now you see why when I was opening this reel up that I didn't want to take these out right away, because I did want to find out how that, if there was anything else associated with it, an anti-reverse or whatever, and how that was set up. So it was good to just make sure as you are doing that you only remove those three outside side plates to get this right. Okay, now I have that little, I'm going to say it's, as advertised, it's got something to do with an anti-backlash. Just taking a little bit more off. There's a little section here where that's going to lay. The last of the cleaning of that. Alright, so we know that that point goes into the piece here. This spring is kind of dear. You don't want to lose this one. This one's going to go over the one side, under the other side, and go behind the mount here. Just like that. That's how we found it. That's how it will go back together. And I noticed as I do this, I somehow managed to miss that last little bit of dry grease on the bridge. So let's kick that out. Make sure that it lands outside the box. And that's it. So there you go. Let's give it a twirl. It's working fine. We did have a little bit more that we sprayed in here, so we just want to mop that up. Looked like it was pretty clean to me. I'm going to put real oil onto the worm drive assembly. I'm going to grab that spool. So a little bit more cleaning there. This has really been the laundry, hasn't it? We've spent a lot of time here showing you how to clean parts. And that's a lot of what the basic maintenance is all about. It's cleaning out the old greases and oils. It's checking to make sure that the pieces are not damaged. And it's putting them back together again. So whatever this grease was, I'm sure it served its purpose in the day. And right now it's time to give it some fresh grease and get it out there fishing again. And get it on both sides. We're going to reinstall the spool. We can put a little dot of grease into that carrier on that side. We've already put it on the back of the spool. The spool is clean. I want to center that. Now this little piece here is going to ride inside the case, so as you go to reinstall this, just be careful as you go to put it in. It's a matter of, there we go. It's a matter of turning the spring so that you hear that nice little, once you hear that, you know that you're locked in properly. We've got the side plate screws now, micro driver. So if you like this kind of video, please like it. If you have any questions on this reel or any reel in particular, if you leave them in the comments section, I will try to respond to you. And just like Wayne, if you have a reel that maybe is a keepsake or something and you'd like it repaired, if you contact me by email on the business card that follows, I'll be happy to provide you with that reel repair information. And I think this one we're going to be able to say is ready to go fishing. It has a second chance. Just one more, a handle and a nut and a test, and we'll see. I have no doubt that all this dried grease was the cause for the poor performance. We'll just put a little bit more oil onto that worm drive there. Back on. And again, if you were a little bit confused at one point or another, then taking those pictures will help to keep you on track. Use your cell phone, use your mobile camera, use whatever is the best for you. But if you use that camera, take those pictures, you won't get lost. And if you get lost along the way, you'll be able to find a reference point where you can. Okay, nothing left but a final test. That reel's cranking nicely. And this one can go fishing again. I trust it's probably just going to wind up on a shelf somewhere as a show off of a reel, but that reel can go fishing again nice and smooth. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.